I had to stop the word last week. And I remember it said, stop, that's it, I can't preach no more. Do you guys remember why I said that? Because we had read something so profound that it blew my wig back. It went past my carnal understanding. It blew my spiritual thermometer up. I just couldn't take it no more. And I said, that's enough to know that God made you. Psalms 139, 15 and 16. He made you in seclusion inside your mother's womb so nobody else would know what he was creating. And then it says that he went on and that he recorded every day of your life. And then the mind-shattering thing is that he recorded every moment of every day of our life before we even lived one day. I'm still tripping. See, this is why I know I gotta keep preaching. Y'all should be like me right now. Wow. I remember in all my training that they just subliminally brainwashed me with. They said, what wowed you, Mike, about the training? This is one of those wow things. This is one of those things that, for those that are past 40, God been clocking you. For those that are 18, God's been clocking you. For those that are 6 and 5 and 4, God's been clocking you every moment. There is 60 moments in 1 hour. We get approximately 28,000 days of life. I can't even do that math because I'm not a mathematician, but somebody need to tell me how many moments that is in 28,000 days. That's your homework. So we stop there. And I want you guys to understand one thing. I want to open up with this. I want to open up with 2 Peter 3 and 8. I always want to know why Peter said this statement, because see, Peter had already read Psalms. Peter had already read that God knows every minute of your life and that he made you in seclusion and that he knows the days that you will live, because Peter had a revelation. He goes, in 2 Peter 3 and 8, he says, but you must not forget. Now, when someone tells you you're not supposed to forget something, it's usually your wife. Honey, where's your wallet? Did you forget your wallet? Even my kids get on me now. Where's my wallet? The whole house started looking. That's why I don't carry credit cards anymore, but I got the debit cards in there and I still get in trouble. But when someone tells you do not forget, it's pretty important, don't you agree? So Peter is telling us over 2,000 years ago that's still relevant today. He said, do not forget this one thing, dear friends. A day is like 1,000 years to the Lord, and 1,000 years is like one day. That's how he knows everything. Dang it. So as we go through this whole series of mind-blowing facts and stats about what God says and how you were created and how he prescribed every ingredient from your hair to your eyes to the freckles on your face to the beauty mark on your face, even the acne that you might go through, you'll grow out of it. Don't worry about it. It's just matters of a little time. That's all. Stop eating so much sugar. Anyway, that God knows everything. He knows your wife. He knows your kids and your kids' wives and your kids' kids and kids' wife. He knows all your uncles and all your relatives. He knows everything after you are dead and gone of what your generation, of what your bloodline should carry. He knows my life up to 1,000 years. But yet, he knows all that before you even spend one day on earth. I can't believe that God is this smart. I can't believe it. He's this big. He's gigantic. He's unconceivable, unbelievable, undescribable. He's unconceivable, unbelievable, undescribable. How can you describe someone so big, so vast, that can be everywhere and every time and know everything about you? What a mighty God we And guess what? We get to. It's a choice. Last Sunday, somebody came up to me and they said, well, Pastor, well, God knows all this stuff. Why am I like this? And why am I like this? And why am I like that? I said, because he gives you a choice, so shut your mouth. You come and try to turn my sermon around to a pity party. You can pity party all you want, but you get a choice. And in that whole time of knowing you and creating you, he's waiting. He's waiting. Jesus, what are we going to do? Michael, what's going on? Michael, did you give her the message? Gabriel, did you go down there? What's going on? Are they changing? Are they changing? He can't. He told the devil, you can do anything you want to Job, just don't kill him. Don't you know he wanted to reach in there and say, that's enough, devil, you playing dirty? Oh, you hit Job below the belt? No, he was like, Job, make a right choice. Job, don't curse me. Job, don't let me down. Come on, Simeon, I'm counting on you. Come on, Ryan, you can do it. Don't let me down, bro. Come on. I'm trusting you, Jesse. I'm trusting you. Will, you can do it. God is our greatest cheerleader. He's our greatest helper when we say, God, help me. He's like, yes, Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, go. And he goes, bam, gates of hell will not prevail. Boom, my provision is enough because I'm Jehovah Jireh. Bam, I have all the power, all the strength, and all the ability to do as I please because I am God. Boom, bam, bam. Because you cried out. And so then you get feel a little good. God help me out, yeah. And then all of a sudden you forget that God is there still. So you think you're grown, so you go on about your business. Well, you can tell by the way I move my feet on the wall. And then you start singing, ain't alive. Because you didn't got depressed. You didn't got beat up. But you forgot about God. And then God says, come on, baby, do it one more time. Come on, call me. Come on, cry out to me. Come on, shout. God, help me. Bam, Michael, Ariel, Raphael, pow, pow, pow. And then one day you'll get like me, 52 years old. And you'll say, okay, God, I ain't gonna play with you no more. I'm gonna serve you all the days of my life. I didn't taste, I didn't try, I didn't cry, I didn't almost die. I didn't taste, I didn't try, I didn't cry. I'm turning back this. I didn't almost die. Ha! And I'm still alive. Yes, I know so. But what have you learned? What have you learned? Nothing, because I'm hard-headed still. And what does Mama say about a hard head? Makes us soft butt in the long run. So, we're going to start this new thing going forward, and I just wanted to, that was your little recap, okay? And we started off with Psalms where God knows all that, and we came up to the conclusion that because God made you for a reason, God made you for a reason. How many in your hearts, by a show of hands, and don't be shy, really believe that you were made for a reason? I'm glad that many believe, so it must be my preaching. Those that didn't, we're going to get you there by the time this series is over. Listen, if you don't learn nothing in life, if you don't become a great person that has a great job and has big houses and fancy things, and you don't become the CEO of a company, you don't become even the manager of your current job, if you don't become nothing special, nothing extraordinary, nothing of responsibility or anything, of great responsibility, you're still made for a reason. You see, some of us are made for a moment. Some of us are made for a season. And that's all we get. We either get a moment in life or we get a season in life. Right now, I'm in a season. For 3.5 years, I've been working 7 days a week, planning this church, and being a full-time man at work, at corporate America, and I'm in a season. Because if it was just a moment, it already passed. So I understand my seasons, and you need to understand what season you're in. And you got to understand that whatever your purpose is that God made you for, He has a reason. Some of you may do something spectacular, supernatural, one time in your life. And that's what God made you for, that moment. But yet that one thing that you did can impact thousands upon thousands. So understand this, whether your task is big or small, God made you for a reason. And the reason He made you is because He made you out of love. He decided when you would be born and how long you would live. He planned your days in advance, choosing the exact time of your birth and the exact time of your death. On December 29, 2009, I did not know that my dad would die that day. I had just talked to him 4 days ago. I had no idea that he would die that day of a massive heart attack that would send a clot to every organ in his body so that they couldn't resuscitate him. They couldn't revive him. You got people that go to death and they get recovered, and they go to death and they get recovered, and they go to death and they think this is the big one. It's not. When the exact day of death comes, it was already planned before you spent one day on earth. The question is, what did you do with the life God gave you? That's the question. That's all. It doesn't matter when you're born. It matters how you die. You either die in God or you die in the world. But you can make believe you're going to die. God also planned where you would be born and where you would live for His purpose. Oh, I don't know why I'm in El Paso. I'm still here? I always wake up thinking it was a dream. We've lived everywhere. East Coast, West Coast, all over California, all over Nevada and different places. And then we end up here. I wanted to live in Texas all my life, but I wanted to live in real Texas. Not this kind of Texas they call this place next to Mexico. New Mexico too. Chaparral. Where am I? This ain't Texas. If I go 11 miles this way, I'm in New Mexico. If I go 11 miles that way, I'm in Mexico. Where is Texas? But God planned where I would live for Mike Davis's purpose. God planned where I would live for Flo. She wanted to live in Orange County. Woo, we would have been poor down there. We tried to buy a house that was $500,000 and it was 1,000 square feet with no air conditioning. I said, who, where, what, and how in the H-E-L-L is that going to happen? We're going back to the high desert where we can get a mansion. 7 bedroom, 4,500 square feet for only $245,000. And that's where we live. I couldn't believe how they lived there. But see, God planned where you would live for His purpose. He planned your race, your nationality. They're not accidents. He left no details out. Nothing for chance. He reserved your race, and your race is a group that is identified by physical or genetic characteristics. That's what your race is. God prescribed what race you would be. So don't ever go, and I used to tell my kids, don't you ever wish you was anything but a black person. You need to be proud of who you are because that's who God made you. And when you walk around wishing you were some other race because you want good hair, you got issues. Okay? God, if He wanted you to have good hair, He would have gave you a mixed daddy. He would have made you interracial so you have good grade. But He gave you straight African kente cloth from Nigeria, okay? From the Serengeti. It's able to block the sun and protect your scalp. That's why you got that here. He planned to erase your nationality. And he planned it all for his purpose. Let's turn to Acts 17 and 26. And I want you to know something. And look, I'm not starting no debate. So don't go home and start no debate. All my friends that I went to college, they always went to Black History College. And they came back with all this black philosophy. And I said, and what's that got to do with me? I'm not from Africa. I'm from America, San Bernardino, born in San Bernardino Hospital, raised in the projects. I don't know nothing about the Serengeti and African American and all that stuff. I said, oh, my birth certificate, it says Negro. And it says Mike Davis the Negro, son of Donna Davis the Negro, and Leonard Davis the Negro. And so I break it out and they still don't believe me. Yes, what? African? Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm just keeping it real. Okay? We was Negroes before we became black, and then we became African American. Ain't that something? Call me a Negro today. See what happens. I'll say thank you, because it says that on my birth certificate. I ain't gonna fight you. I'm gonna just say, how'd you know? Did I show it to you? Acts 17:26, this explains everything. That's why I'm not trying to start a debate. God says in Acts 17:26, he says, from one man he made every nation and determined the time set for them and the exact places where they should live. Okay? Stop. It says that God, from one man, made every nation. He made every race. How did he do that? Then I read it in the NLT, it says, from one man he created all nations throughout the whole earth, and he decided beforehand when they should rise and fall. And he determined their boundaries. That means their habitation, their territories. Now we begin to understand how the world was created. It was all an intricate design plan by God for his purpose. He said, I will produce every race from one man. So why do we argue over the color of that one man? Because we ain't got nothing else to do. We spend all this time trying to figure out something like that instead of figuring out how to love each other. But we're all the same. We all have the same color blood. We all have an eye and a nose. We all age the same. All women have babies the same. All families procreate the same. I mean, really, what's all the big hoopla about? Because that's men. Because they can't understand how God could have such a perfect plan. We look to find fault in what God's done, but God don't make no mistakes. Remember that? That's the title of this series. He don't make no mistakes. He picked your nationality. He picked where you would be. He spread the boundaries of man and said, France will be over here, Russia will be over here, Asia will be over here, North America will be over here. I'll put people over there that look like that. I'll put people over here that look like that. But guess what? They're all my people because every one of them have a different DNA. Every one of them have a different thumbprint. None of them are made the same. My God, my God. God, how you do that?
Don't worry about it. I wanted you to know I would tell you. You just keep preaching.
Yes, sir. Nothing in our life is arbitrarily. You know what arbitrarily means? It's erratic, whimsical, or by chance. Nothing. Nothing is arbitrary. It is done with the exact purpose. Nothing in your life is arbitrary. Nothing. Nothing is by chance or hit or miss. There's no, wait. There's no such thing
as luck.
You didn't get lucky when you went there, you hit your numbers. But did you think why God blessed you with that money? How much did you get in the church? None. Bet you won't hit it again. How come every lotto winner is broke or on drugs or commit suicide after they hit the big one? 95% of them. My God, I used to dream about, okay, me and Maria gonna hit the Powerball. It's 360 million. Okay, I'm just gonna go build a big old church in the Far East. I'm gonna buy the land, I'm gonna build it, and ain't gonna be no rent. We're just gonna pay taxes. See, that's what I think about what I'm gonna do with my money. Not go buy a house I don't need and 10 more cars. Do you know most of those lotto winners get strung out on drugs? Because they ain't gotta pee in the bottom no more.
I always wanted to try heroin. Now they broke in 2 years.
It's sad. Google it one time. You'll see it. It's like, what did you do with all that money God gave you? Because they thought it was luck, but it's really God chose to bless them and it was a test for them. See, we can't all have money because we can't all be good stewards of our money. That's why God knows not to make some of us rich. Look at all the rich pastors he made rich. Where they going? They're going as far away from God as they can. What about the widows? What about the poor? What about the hungry? Oh, but I need my Learjet. But I need my mansion. You see, you can't serve money and God. I told God, I said, God, I don't ever want to be rich. I just want to be able to write a check for what I need. That's all. So if I need some groceries, I can pay for them $300 of groceries. But I don't want to be rich. Never wanted to, never desired. Because I don't want money to become my God. God makes no mistakes. None. Nothing in your life is whimsical by chance, haphazard, inconsistent. It was exact what his purpose was for your life. Listen, God also decided how you would be born. Oh, let's talk about that for a minute. He decided regardless of your circumstance. See, some of us was born in the backseat of a car. I know a lot of us was made in the backseat of a car. I know I was. Hallelujah, I'm not ashamed to say it. I was made in a 57 Chevy, according to Donna Davis and Linda Davis. It's all right, because that's where God wanted me to be conceived at. Some of us he knew exactly where you would be born. Some of us, God blessed the slaves. They would drop babies in the field, wrap them up, put them in the thing, and keep on shucking cotton. Oh, don't you tell me nothing about you women with your epidural. None of them Negroes got epidurals. They shucked corn. It was terrible. It was terrible. Egyptian slaves, Israelite slaves, African American slaves, all slaves of all kinds was treated horribly when they were pregnant. They were expected to drop that baby and keep on slaving. There was no 9 weeks of maternity leave. There was no maternity leave. There was none of that. But God knew exactly when that baby would be born. How some women have babies in a plane, some in a hotel, some on the side of the road, some in an elevator, some in a log cabin, and of course, some in the hospital. But the whole point is God knew exactly the day of your birth and how you would be born. God had a plan in creating you. It didn't matter whether your parents were good or bad or indifferent. The word indifferent means not interested. Whether they didn't want to have you. Listen to this. It didn't matter. And I want to say this for all you disgruntled kids out there that's still blaming your mama and daddy for stuff. And now you got hair under your armpit and you still blaming them. You need to shut your mouth. They ain't done. They didn't already, your mother burnt you. If you grow up to be and have hair under your armpit, you got nothing to say about your mom and dad. But oh, us kids, I was one, don't lie to me. We want to judge our parents like somebody made us in charge. You ain't in charge of Nathan. Wait till you get your own family. And then you can worry about how you gonna raise them. Because mama did the best she could. Daddy did the best he could. I don't know why our kids turn around and think they become some kind of judges. It's because the society says they can judge. But listen to this. It didn't matter if you had good parents. It didn't matter if your daddy was a murderer and your mama was a hoe that worked at the red light special. It didn't matter if your daddy was in prison and your mama wasn't. It didn't matter if you was raised, your daddy was hooked on heroin and your mama was a meth head. It didn't matter. Because God planned you. Woo! I just love that. Don't that feel good? So stop complaining about your mama and daddy and be grateful that you're alive. God knew that those two individuals possessed exactly the right genetic makeup to create a custom human. You know, it's so easy to accept, but we try to complicate it. It's not. I just told you he knows 1,000 years ahead. I just told you he wooed you in seclusion inside your mother's womb. I just told you every day of your life was recorded before you spent one day there. I just told you he picked you out exactly from the color of your hair to how you would look. I just told you it didn't matter if your parents were good or bad. I just told you all this stuff to let you understand one thing, that you are specially made. Plain and simple. Let's take every equation. I was born together, that's why I can't be successful. Wrong. My mama, she used to sleep around men, that's why I can't be successful. Wrong. You get a choice. Remember God and Gabriel and Michael and Jesus and Raphael and Ariel, they're just cheering for you. Come on. I know you had it up, but come on, you can do it. Call him here. Ask for help. And there they go. To change the course of your life, to change the circumstances, regardless of where you at, how you don't have to stay there. You don't have to accept that as the norm. God can change everything in your life. He does it every day, every moment, every second around the world. He had you in mind the whole time. Your parents had the right DNA, and I'm going to end with this. There is no such thing as an illegitimate child. Oh yeah, I'm about to get on some people. You see, because Mike Davis technically was an illegitimate child. My mom had me out of wedlock. Let's break this down. There's only illegitimate parents. There's no illegit children. There's only illegit parents that don't do the right thing. But there is no such thing as an illegit child. I don't care what man's dictionary tell you. I'm talking about what God's sovereignty power just said, how he created you, formed you, fashioned you before you was in your mother's womb, and he knew every circumstance surrounding your birth. So how could that be an illegitimate? It can't. Some of the greatest people in the world was illegitimate. Look them up. I Googled them last night. I didn't want to give you the list. It was unbelievable. Who says that word? Webster? Who the heck is Webster? So let's just break that down, because I want some of those children that think that because I didn't have a daddy or I didn't have a mama, that someone, some grandma or some person with no wisdom called you an illegit. To be legit or legitimate means that you are conforming to the laws and the rules of man. Yeah. Man said you should be married and have a baby, and that baby is legal. God says, I formed that baby before it was in his mother's womb, before they laid the foundations of the earth. I prescribed their exact color. I called the circumcision with the reborn, and I don't care that their mama was a hoe and their daddy was a murderer. I still battled for it on the day that I said they was going to be born. So how the hell can you tell me that they're illegit? You know Webster said it, God. Webster. I have all the power, all the authority. How many times was the bloodline of Christ messed up? 4 times I preached about. 4 times that a Gentile woman had birth and carried up the line of Christ. Whatever is illegitimate or illegitimate, God makes it right. And I'm going to give you a story. Now, legitimate and is conforming, and illegitimate is not authorized by law, not according with acceptance or standard of rules. There is no such thing as illegitimate children. There are only illegitimate parents. Many children born are unplanned by their parents, but they are not unplanned by God. That's why when Seth popped up, we go, wait a minute. We was like, how'd you come here? We was just practicing. They said, no, Flo gave a vow. She should have never vowed. Her own body don't belong to her. Her own uterus don't belong to you. Women, your uterus don't belong to you. It belongs to God. She said, I will never have a big head Davis baby again. And then I went number 7, she ran to the hospital. Then all the nurses blamed me. You should be getting fixed. I said, God told me to be fruitful and multiply. I don't know what you're talking about, lady. She want to go close that womb, that's her business. I ain't closing Nathan over here. Okay? Guys, when your woman go get that done, don't go with her. Unless, because they gonna say that there's no reason for her to get it done if you already had it done, sir. Okay? So just stay in the waiting room. I want to tell you a story to show you that there's no illegitimacy. It's the story of Sarah and Abraham. And the story goes on to say that Sarah, it's in Genesis 16, I'm not going to read it all to you, but the story goes on to say that Sarah could not bear a child. Right? And Abraham was the father of faith that carried the line of Christ. And God chose Isaac, which was born through Sarah and Abraham. He sent the angel and said, you will have a child. And they were over 90 years of age. But in between that, Sarah got discouraged when she was 86 years of age, and she still wasn't able to bring forth a child. And they had been in the land of Canaan for over 10 years because God told Abraham to leave Mesopotamia and go to the land, and there I will make you a great nation. So 10 years have gone by, and they are still barren. So Sarah takes it on herself to give her maiden or her slave or her servant to Abraham and said, maybe we can have a family this way. Well, I think that's called illegitimate. I don't think that is according to the rules and regulations. I think that was a legal way to make a baby out of desperation. Nowhere as you read did Abraham take on Sarah to wife. Now, they use this phrase that Sarah gave Hagar to Abraham as a wife. But Abraham never took Hagar for himself. He was given. So therefore, there was no marriage that was consummated from that action. And as you go on to read in verse 6 and then go on to read, you will see where Abraham told her, she's your handmaiden. She's not my new wife. Do what you want. And Hagar got upset that Sarah treated her bad, and she ran off. Well, when do we make him legitimate? We make him legitimate when God shows up in the desert to Hagar. And he says this. In verse 9, he says, the angel of the Lord said, return to your mistress and submit to her authority. Did the angel say, turn to your husband? Exactly. Because there was some illegitimate stuff going on there. The law in the Hebrew was if I looked upon Flo and I had a wife, and I basically raped her against her will, by law I had to make her my second wife. I said, oh my God, you got legally raping women and having 13 wives. That's why when Jesus came, he said, let every man have only one wife. They were abusing the privileges that God gave them. But yeah, that's an old Hebrew custom. Isn't that terrible? I said, God, that's a little favoritism. Don't you think so? Jesus came and called it straight out, but it is. He says, I'm changing that. Which was God changing that because man had taken advantage of it. And so if Abraham would have went to his mistress Hagar and took her for himself, then it would have been his, by Hebrew law, his second wife. So that's why we have to read the language that the Bible says when they talk about the situation. Because I'm going to use this to prove a point of what I said. Because Webster is a book written by man of a bunch of definitions of what a word means. And that's the only reason why we use that word. And it says that the angel said also, now you are pregnant and will give birth to a son, and you are to name him Ishmael, which means God hears. He doing this to an illegitimate? Sounds pretty legitimate to me, huh? And he says this, for the Lord has heard your cry and distress. This son of yours will be a wild man, untamed, and as a wild donkey. He will raise his fence against everyone, and everyone against him. And yes, he will live in open hostility against all his relatives. So it says, therefore, Hagar returned back and became a servant again. And she named that place, I can't even say it, which means a living well and the living one who saw me. Stand up. Many children are born or unplanned by their parents, but they're planned by God. And God's purpose, not ours, God's purpose. That means what he wants to do took into account of human error, took into account of even sin. And he decided to make that baby legitimate because he knew that baby would come by the way it came. He knew that it would come years and thousands of years before it was even conceived. He knew the plan. He prescribed that baby, their hair, their eyes. He prescribed them their parents, whether they were good or bad or indifferent, whether they were born in accordance to the law or out of the law. No child that comes to this earth that is alive and have breath is an illegitimate, regardless. It was planned, it was purposed with exact and precise detail. So if you've ever used that word, don't use it to describe a child that was not born in wedlock. Because you got to understand one thing. That child is special. God made them the same way he made you. God never does anything accidentally. He never makes mistakes. And he has a reason for everything he creates. When we start back up next Sunday, we'll go into some of those reasons. Amen? Let's pray. Father, we just thank you for your word today. We thank you, Father, that you made us. Every person in this room, from the young to the old, you made us. You made us in your image. Regardless of our circumstance, regardless of how we were created, you prescribed everything to us. Our looks, our features, our uniqueness, our personalities, our hair color, our nationality, our race, where we would live. God, it is so amazing that you precisely calculated everything in our life. How could we not serve you? How could we not love you and give you all our lives, all the days of our lives? When we think about how much you love us and how you did everything in life. Father, help us to grab a greater understanding, a greater self-respect of who we are. That you took the time to make us special. That if nobody else ever tells me anything, the Bible tells me I'm special. And I think the Bible trumps every boyfriend, every girlfriend, every parent, every friend, because it is the living Word of God. And I either believe in it or I don't. My happiness depends on my faith. I either believe in it or I don't. My well-being depends upon my faith. I either believe in it or I don't. My joy depends on you, Lord Jesus. I either believe in you or I don't. But Father, I choose, and we choose to believe in you, that your word is true. We accept who we are. All our flaws that we say we're not pretty enough, we're fat, we're ugly, we're short, we're skinny. All these things we say about ourselves. Let us be ashamed to speak those things again. For we are wonderfully made. And we are loved because you have designed us down to the exact day we would be born, to the exact day we would die. What a mighty God. What a mighty, mighty, mighty God we serve. So Father, we give you this day, that you would go and bless our day, bless our way, that we would be complete and filled and happy, that we learned something, and that we would have a great holiday, and that we would give you the glory. In Jesus' name.